What is up, everybody? Welcome to another reading, and this is Equestrian Pie again, because apparently the one I did before wasn't the Equestrian Pie that I originally wanted to read, so I just named it alternate version, and yeah, this is the actual version that I think I wanted to read. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Enjoyed what? Oh my god! No, I hope you guys enjoy. Soren closed and locked the door behind him. He didn't want any disturbances on his day off from the Wonderbolts. He also closed all his shutters to keep away any prying eyes. Lol. He walked over to his counter and grabbed the wrapped package from Sugar Cube Corner. Beholding the box with hungry eyes, he slowly unwrapped it, taking care to preserve the elegant wrapping. He didn't really have a use for this, but he would occasionally take a look at the ones he had saved to be nostalgic. With the wrappings gone, the box sat by itself on the counter, decorated with Sugar Cube Corner, the sweetest shop in Ponyville, written on it in a fancy script. Savoring the moment, he pried it open. Inside rested a mouth-watering, warm cherry pie. Soren inspected it a bit closer. The crust was perfectly flaky and gave off a heavenly aroma. He tested it with his hoof. It was the perfect temperature for his purpose. He tried his hardest not to just go for the pie right then and there, but he felt his willpower failing. Soren nibbled at the edges of the crust, letting the anticipation build. It had been baked perfectly, with the utmost care, and it truly showed with every piece he took off. Oh boy. Soren could take no more. With one quick motion, he thrust his dick into the pie, letting the tasty filling coat his engorged member. He let out a contented moan, then continued to slide around in the contents of the pie tin. The feeling of the cherries and dough was absolutely heavenly on his stallion flesh. He grunted a bit. It had been a while since he had a pie this good, almost 3 days. Soren continued to mash his memory into what remains of the pie hadn't already been penetrated. It was all too much, and Soren climaxed suddenly. He shot loads of his non-dairy milk all over the pie tin, letting globs of it mix with the pie filling. The rest was left strewn around the cloud floor. He'd clean that up later, but for now all his attention was focused on the pie. He let himself bask in the afterglow for a few minutes, then returned to the kitchen for some napkins. As he headed back, he stopped for a moment and grabbed a fork from the counter. No, he won't. No, he won't. That's really disturbing. It was the night of the Grand Galloping Gala. Soren wasn't one for these kind of fancy affairs, but the Wonderbolts were scheduled to perform, and so there he was. Thankfully, the performance was over, and so he had the night to hang out with his friends and fellow performers. As he walked through the courtyard, he noticed an orange pony in a dress pushing a cart decorated with a big red apple. Soren thought for a moment. If this pony's selling apples, then she must have apple pie. Luckily, he had learned to control his lust somewhat, and prepared himself with a script of what to say without looking suspicious. "Howdy, partner," the orange pony exclaimed. "You hungry?" "As a horse," responded Soren, enjoying the little pun he had made. "Well, what you hankering for?" She listed a few items, but Soren only had eyes for the pie he saw. Once she stopped talking, he responded, "I'll take that big apple pie." The other pony thanked him as he paid for his item, and he walked away giddily with it in his mouth. Soren then realized his fatal mistake. He wasn't going to be anywhere private for another few hours. By then, the pie would be cold and much less enjoyable, and he had definitely tried with less than spectacular results. Then he got an idea. An awful idea. Soren got a wonderful, awful idea. Okay, that's a bit weird. He always had a bit of an exhibitionist side? I don't know. But today he would take it to the extreme. He would eat the pie straight out of the tin, in front of all the gala guests. Soren carried the pastry towards the VIP section with the other Wonderbolts, so he didn't stand out too much. Suddenly, Spitfire landed next to him. "Always hungry after a show, eh, Soren?" she said, noting the pie in his mouth. He felt a twinge of nervousness. Had she discovered his secret? His mind raced, thinking back to all the times he had finished the show. "Last show I got a grass sandwich. 2 shows ago I got that rice dish. 3 shows ago I got a big box of hay fries. Soren realized that he had been eating after every show, but was relieved to see that his secret was safe. Yeah, he responded, finally. Unfortunately, as he did so, the pie tin fell from his mouth. Was this it? Would his naughty plan be all for naught? My pie! He yelled in exasperation. Suddenly, a Pegasus flew out of nowhere and caught the pie, not even disturbing the perfect crust. She hovered in front of Soren and Spitfire, holding the pie to return to him. Oh, you saved it, said Soren. The other 2 ponies could not comprehend how much relief he felt. Thanks. He took the pie back in his mouth and walked a bit. However, Soren realized that the longer he waited, the more likely he was to drop the pie again. Therefore, he had to have his pie right there and then, or then and there. With no hesitation, he set the pie down and immediately brought his head down to begin eating. He gave the crust a quick lick. It was just as perfect as his last. He may have a second contender for where he would get his pies. He noticed he was getting quite hard and hoped no pony could see it through the skin-tight flight costume. It had seemed no pony was really paying attention, so he felt safe. He penetrated the crust with his deft tongue, feeling the warm apple filling run over his tongue. Soren ran his tongue around the inside of the pie, tasting its warm gooiness. He used his tongue to lift pieces off of it in his mouth, filling the whole of it with that sweet taste of apple. Pleasure shot through him doubtly, part from this naughty public act and part from how good the pie was on his own. Soren abandoned all pretenses of being gentle and began gorging himself into the pie. Crust and feeling alike were getting everywhere, but he had stopped caring some time ago. Off in the distance he heard Spitfire mention his name. Without ever stopping what he was doing, he lifted his head a bit and gave noises of assent to whatever sentence it was that he missed, feeling dripping from his mouth as he did so. He then returned his head to the pie and kept eating. The atmosphere of the fancy party against the animalistic consumption of the pie was too much to bear. Soren felt his pleasure enhanced at just how taboo his action was, and yet no pony seemed to suspect a thing. Uh-oh. As he was reaching the end of his pie, he began to orgasm. He released his non-whipped cream into the flight suit, which was thankfully waterproof. Soren let out a moan, and the filling that was in his mouth dripped out back into the pan. Finishing up the sweet release, Soren made a note that he would have to go back to the apple stand and figure out where those pies were sold. Suddenly he saw the rest of the Wonderbolts moving in towards the party. He quickly picked up the pie tin and threw it in the trash, then trotted over to join them. Soren stood around next to Spitfire. Traces of pleasure were still running through him, but he had regained his composure as a Wonderbolt as he talked to the guests. As he turned, he saw the rainbow-maned Pegasus from before. She appeared to be saying something to Spitfire, but he couldn't hear a word what she was saying. From the look of it, this pony seemed to idolize the Wonderbolts, given how enthusiastically she was talking. Soren looked himself over to see how presentable he was. However, to his horror, he saw his previous activities had still left a bit of a white stain on his flight suit. He had another suit with him. All Wonderbolts kept a second suit in case their primary suit got damaged, but needed somewhere to change. The rainbow-maned Pegasus now turned toward him. Uh-oh. As Soren heard her speak, though he could barely understand what she was saying, he saw a bathroom off in the distance. His face lit up, and he quickly trotted over her before the other pony could see why. Yup. Now that he was all cleaned up, he was better prepared to talk with the other pony if she came back. For now, he was talking to Spitfire about ideas for a new routine. She seemed to like his suggestions. He had a penchant for making up stunning routines. Suddenly, they were both distracting? What? By the table next to them, moving. Oh, wait, yeah. They turned to see a drink cup falling through the air and landing gracefully onto the rainbow-maned Pegasus pony's back left leg. Back left? I don't even know. Soren was impressed. Perhaps she was trying to get them to consider her for a position in the Wonderbolts. If she was, well, it was certainly working. He was about to ask her what aerial trick she knew when 2 ponies suddenly grabbed a pair of Wonderbolts and took them for a photo op. Maybe I'll get to ask her another day, he thought as he smiled for the camera. I know, I'll go visit her as thanks for saving my pie. I guess I owe her for that. owe her one for that. I wonder what flavor she likes. A naughty smile crept onto his face. Or if she likes them like I do. Oh there, lover boy. Oh, Soren, you creepy, bro. You creepy. Right, but that was Equestrian pie. That was kind of messed up. Yeah. You know, having sex with a pie and then presumably eating it. You know, it's not really your average day, activity. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed, and yeah, I guess I'll see you in the next video. And don't forget to subscribe. I'm nearly at 100, and after 100, I will be able to hold the contest. I have no words to describe on how excited I am right now. I'm like, come on, I'm at 99, come on! But I'll do some stuff. So yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Later.